All right, guys, here we are back at it again. 2 down, 1 over. I'm Josh Mason. This is Matt Flanagan. We are here to rock the mics, baby. 2 down, 1 over. Love the podcast. This is episode 25, Matt. 25. That's crazy, dude. I feel like we're cooking through them, huh?
No, it went quick.
Yeah, it did. And 25, there's a lot that we can like look back at and kind of check into. What are you thinking?
Yeah, well, that's what we talked about. We want to kind of reflect a little bit.
Yes.
And we talk about that too, how it is important to reflect. And
Sure.
Today, what we're going to do is go to the guests and take away key points.
I love that. You know,
episode.
It's 25. It's a special episode in that sense. And it's like, hey, why not go look back at our list and say, hey, some key takeaways. What did you gain from this?
Yeah.
You know,
I like it. I'm
and
excited.
hopefully the listeners are all about it too. So let's start. All right. So I had our first guest. Was the legendary Coach Karen Klasner from seminary, right? She was super successful, had major state titles. She like grew the game of field hockey in our area. We were super, proud to have her as our guest. That was our first guest.
Yeah,
so it was
we went
like,
big.
That was huge for us. She just came off a loss though, right? Was it in the districts?
That was our last game.
That was the last game, which was districts, which wasn't like, we didn't see that coming.
Yeah, no,
And
we didn't.
she handled it well, better than I thought, right?
definitely.
We could have asked a couple more questions, I think.
Probably.
We slipped. That was our first interview.
Oh, we were
so
new to it.
We were new to the
yeah.
game. But, yeah, tell me what some key takeaways that you got from Karen.
Well, first and foremost, I will say that I think that's the first time I ever was part of an interview, like on this side of an interview, since we the podcast and everything. So for me, a takeaway for me, and I think for you, is to let's change our interview style a little bit.
100%.
And I think when we look back at that, it's a little geez. But one thing with her is, I was impressed with her humility a little bit because that's a huge name.
Yes.
I go to Wyoming Seminary. I was just there to watch the girls' senior night last night. Okay, for lacrosse, and it's Klasner Field.
Right.
Like there's so much associated with Klasner. She's such a big name, and one key takeaway for me is that she would always talk about how good the girls were.
Yes.
She's like, you can't be a good coach without having good talent.
Yes.
And she knew all the girls by name, what they were doing, and even the 4 girls this year they're absolutely amazing, and how much credit she gave to them.
Yeah.
She wasn't like me, and I think the lack of ego.
Yes.
And the overpowering humility that she had, I think that was a key takeaway for me, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I agree, man. And the piggyback, it's funny because you think of the success in a single sport, she's killing it. She killed it, right?
God,
I mean, from USA coaching and being coach of the year nationally, you're right. She was humble. Yeah. And that was the one thing I was surprised also, because I was I knew her, off subject in the sense of working over at SEM, but you would think a coach like that with that clout, there might be a little more chip or edge to it.
Yeah.
And that wasn't the case.
Not at all.
She always blessed her staff, the people that was around her, and the players. Like you said, she was always saying you have to have good players.
Yeah.
She laid it down, but it was more or less of hey, the players came in and we had great coaches around us, and that's why we had success. And without that, I wouldn't be in the position I am. So, hats off to her for being humble and saying if you can make it, being nice and humble.
Yeah.
Right?
No, it's awesome. Definitely a huge key takeaway for that.
So the next guest, who was the next guest?
Belinsky.
Yeah, Belinsky. Coach B.
Oh, man.
Right?
Yeah, that was awesome. That was fun. That was super fun for me. We talked about 2 down, 1 over.
Yes.
And I think it was cool for him to realize the impact he's had on me and the kids throughout. That he's coached, because he's a great coach.
Yes.
He really is. And a key takeaway for me is hard work.
That's what he's about.
That man is in the gym all the time. That man is constantly working at his craft.
Yes.
And he is old school and everything, but a huge takeaway is work.
Yes.
And that's success. A key driver is going to be the hard work that's behind it.
You can't do without it.
That's huge for him.
Can't do without it.
Yeah.
And I remember that episode, and work was huge, right? Work. And but it was cool, man. Like you said, old school, man, consistent, has a track record, awesome with his coaching and his philosophy. Think about, he's been through ups and downs, man, and he's been through it. So, like, I feel like people like that have the scars, have the stripes, right? And when they speak, you listen because it's there. And, you know, a big takeaway there is like you said, it doesn't have to be fancy. Like, you don't have to do crazy things to gain success. But with him, it was more of being consistent and making sure you're putting in work.
Yeah.
Right? Like that was...
He's a fundamentalist too, and it's all about hammering down the fundamentals, like over and over, and being great at the fundamentals before you get flashy or anything like that. And it's a lot of stuff that we do here too, like the mechanics. Always got to be dialed in. Like we don't care about the weight that you put on the bar, but you know, with him, it's all like catch high, keep high, like, you know, micing drills, stuff like that, and just hammering those things home, and you know. Pretty cool, man.
Yeah, it is, and I mean that consistency. Obviously, he's successful. Like you see his track record, so it's working.
And I think we, the coaches, we looked it up. His win percentage is like 79%.
Yeah, which is
insane.
That's like, unbelievable.
Yeah, and like he's been coaching for how long? Right. It's not just he had 2 or 3 years and
fell off
his belt. Yeah. With because. Like you said, you can have good players and do that, but like he's really helped transform a lot of players, and he's a big team guy. And to have a winning percentage like that speaks volumes.
And I mean, he was turning over programs,
right?
Dallas,
he took the Dallas program
so,
over,
and that's huge.
Changed the whole perspective of Dallas basketball for sure. Yeah,
hats off, Coach B.
Yep,
shout out, man, awesome guest. Next up,
Mia
Hopkins, Harlem Globetrotter, mighty, right? This chick is a beast. She's a monster.
Oh, I know.
Love, obviously, we get to work with her in the gym at Fame Strength, so that's amazing. But to see her journey, like we were there, so like we get to see like how it was moving, and amazing, man. You bring her in, and she is a true testament of like perseverance and staying true to the grind and going after your dream, right?
So many opportunities to quit. so many reasons to quit. So many.
Correct.
Like, everything was stacked against her so many times. Not just once, but twice, 3, like so many, even COVID going through that. She's working out on her porch, and doing ball handling drills on her porch. And then, she's Ireland, gets cut, hits the game winner and gets cut the next day. And just like the treatment that she's been through.
She goes to a WNBA tryout or combine. She has her worst performance. Like, it's just like, man, what next for her?
She starts playing well, hurts her shoulder. And it's like everything, like continuing to go wrong for her. And now, like all of a sudden she gets the success that she's been working for, and she did
traveling the world
with
playing the game she loves and put the work in. I mean, it just all worked out for her. And I mean, she's still soaring. Right, there's still she has clothing brand that's out there. Like, she comes back to local Pittston area and does a whole bunch of things there. So it's amazing to see that. And like I said, to see her, it's just someone that had a dream and she just did not quit.
Yeah, And it's like those years behind, and you're like here, and you're just working, and then all of a sudden, that's when that success, and like that
door, the unknown door,
right?
Just
that did not happen overnight.
No.
That was years and years and years and years of work and almost embarrassment and the grind, and it was not pretty.
No,
but now it's beautiful, and I that was a great episode for me. I always love working with Mia when she's in. And to see her now is it's incredible.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it's incredible.
And that's, I mean, like, to the listeners, that's a great example of, just staying the course and just, I feel like life, God prepares you for the opportunity that's going to come up for you to know that you're ready for it. And I think she had to go through those things in order to get this opportunity, to prepare so she could succeed. So, again, congrats, Mia. Keep killing it out there. Right?
Huge impact on the community and the kids. And she will tell you very honestly her story.
Yes.
And I think that helps so many kids.
It does.
Just hearing the struggles.
And being relatable.
Yep.
Right?
Absolutely.
Right? Next guest, what you got?
Matt Samuel.
Hey, Matt. What's happening? Coach Samuel.
Yeah, that was
5-time state champion coach.
Man,
right? Killing it.
Talk about humility.
Yes.
Matt is such a humble guy. I loved having Matt on this podcast. He's a great speaker. Mm-hmm. He's a great coach.
Yep.
But he does so much for so many kids that goes under the radar.
Yes.
And he doesn't, expect any credit or want any credit. But I've heard so many kids speak so highly of him Matt, he helped me with this and helped me with this and helped me with this. And I think that was that's a cool thing about him. But that episode in particular, there's a story he tells that I love, which is a testament to him as a coach, is about the girl that broke her foot in States.
States, yep.
And continued to run the race. And he goes over to her, and she's whimpering. He's, how did you do it? How did you do it? Because he knew, during the race, I guess he found out at the mile, knew her pace was off and talked to her, and she struggled through it. And at the end, she was like, whimpering. She said, I did it for my team.
Yeah.
To get it.
Which was huge, man.
And it's like, I get the chills hearing that story.
Yeah,
I remember
same.
the first time I heard that story, I was like, dude, that's unbelievable. And
crazy.
And again, credit to him as a coach, because without him, that's not happening, I don't think. And like all the credit in the world to the girl too. Yep. Like that's unbelievable. I don't think I can do that.
Yes.
But that for me is just like the importance of something for a greater reason or for a greater good or like putting the team above yourself. And I think that's what an amazing, amazing story that was. And just such a key takeaway from that episode.
Yeah. Yeah. He's a good example of like servicing others.
Yeah.
That was a big thing, because he said as he got into coaching, it was something that he felt like, oh man, I'm good at this. Like I enjoy, helping. And, he utilized that gift to change many lives. And like you said, a lot of people don't know. Yeah. Right. But I mean, this man's five-time state champ. Like what?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I found that out the night before.
Yeah. Right.
So and I talk to him all the time.
Yeah. It's a super humble guy, but he's just looking to help.
Yeah.
And that's all it is. And service to others. And he's a great guy, standout guy. He's still in the community, right? A pillar in the community. You see him all over through Dallas, the Dallas community, doing his thing. And I'm sure he's not done, right? He continues this path. And
he helps the basketball guys a lot.
Yeah, yep.
Again, like he doesn't take any credit. He doesn't want any credit, but he does a lot for the basketball guys too. And I see that.
Like an unsung hero.
Unsung hero, man. Really.
Yeah. Yep. Shout out, Matt.
Yeah. Job, Matt.
Yep. All right. The next one, the big dog, man. This is, I think currently, right, our most watched episode.
I think so.
Yes, by far.
By far.
He's a Penn State guy. He's a Wyoming area guy, right? Dominic DeLuca, the Penn State linebacker, dude. That was an awesome
that was so fun.
Interview for us, right? Just because having him in here, and obviously we get to work with him too at Fame, in the training atmosphere. But like having him on the interview and the podcast was amazing for, I think, our listeners and the young kids and adults just to know his story.
Man,
right?
Yeah, unbelievable. Like his story is unbelievable, and like. I think, like, obviously, I love Dom. I've known Dom for a long time, and like, Dom's like family to me, dude. And I'm so proud of him and stuff. And that was a super fun episode because of that.
Yes.
But I think for a listener, the important thing is like the importance of a mentality.
Yes.
And you hear this guy talk, and like just his thought process is so important. His mentality and approach to life is so important, and that is such a driver to his personal success.
Yes.
And I can't stress that enough. Like, and I use him as an example when I talk to athletes all the time.
Right.
And people say, oh man, I can't do this, or whatever. Never have I heard him, even when he shouldn't do something.
Yeah,
like, you know what I'm saying?
truth.
Like it's always like, I can.
Yes.
And his belief is so powerful.
Yep.
His belief in himself and is just it's incredible.
Yeah, and you touched on it. The mentality, right? Like get your mind right. His mind's right, dude.
His mind is right.
Mentality wise is official. Like you're talking about a kid that just refuses to, like you said, say I can't or no or it's not possible. Like just refuses to hear or accept any of that. And it shows. I mean, this man just walked on to Penn State and earned a full scholarship. And that's hard to do.
And I don't think he even realizes how big of an impact. Like, that's
incredible. Huge. And being in the college game is football. Like, I understand that, and I understand the whole walk-on process. And, like, that's a big move. And for him, a lot of walk-ons just you get overlooked. It does. You never get the credit or you never really get the chance to really get that scholarship. But I mean, he did it, and he did it on a big stage, right? You know, one of the biggest stage. But like, I go back to like, dude, think about that state game. Like, that was one of the biggest things. Like when I read that, I was like, wait, what?
Dude, incredible.
Like this dude tore his ACL, went back in, teamed down, and scored 2 touchdowns to lead his team to the state title. Like what? Like write a book.
Yes, dude.
Start a movie. Like I was just like, that's incredible. But again, it goes back to his mentality.
Yeah.
Again, he's hurt. My knee hurts. My team is in the state title. It doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. I'm going. I'm going. Let's go. You know, and that's why he's successful. He was just named captain for the 2023-24 season. So, like, awesome, man. Dom, shout out, man. Keep rocking it, dude.
Up, Dom.
All right?
Keep it up, brother.
Next up.
Sean Walker.
Man, I love this episode, dude.
Yeah, that was fun.
I love this episode. So, Sean Walker, man, youth transformational speaker, local guy. First of all, that was our longest interview.
Yeah,
from that point.
Over an hour? Was that an hour?
Yeah, I believe it was over. It was just right under it.
Right under.
Right?
Okay,
so 59:45. So we target these interviews to be around 30. 40, right. We went an hour, but we couldn't stop. Right,
no,
we couldn't
that was
stop
like,
with him. It was just like the energy.
We were elevated,
flow.
Man. Like
100. We were floating
dude,
while we were recording, and he just has a great, way of speaking. He has the story that he was giving us was just, it reels you in. Mm-hmm. I think it's relatable to a lot of people, where you're shocked to hear some things, but he was just showing you, like, he was honest. He was an open book.
Very vulnerable.
Right?
Yeah.
Very vulnerable. And, it's just the lessons that he gained from his life and his experiences were just, tremendous.
Yeah. Like you said, he's such a powerful speaker. Mm-hmm. And I remember, like, I was almost like an audience member in that episode, just listening to him speak. And it was incredible. And I remember one of the things he said really hit me, because he had given you a lot of credit. He said, without Josh Mason, there's no Sean Walker.
Right.
Which is incredible. And that's like,
amazing.
What a compliment that is to you. And I thought about that. And I think that's like, I have to be my true self and maximize my potential, because somebody else might depend on that.
Yes.
So like, if there's fears and stuff that I come up against, I better be walking through that.
Yep.
For the greater good.
Yes.
And that's something I got out of his episode, and that hit me like a ton of bricks. Like, wow, man.
All day, man. Like, he's doing his thing with the potential to performance thing, that he's going to local schools and trying to educate the youth and the community, which I think is amazing, where he has actionable steps on how to connect that. And like you said, to ride that, dude, the biggest thing that like floored me was the idea when he did give that compliment, which was great. But he just says, man, like, you not doing something because of fear, or you feel like you have these blocks or roadblocks or, doors up, that you're affecting other people.
Yeah.
Like, you'll never give them the other people chances to
think
change
about
their
that.
lives. Like, and like when he said, I was like, dude, wait, what? Like,
I know.
That is insane. Like, that's insane.
Yeah, that's thinking on a different level, because I don't think about that. You know
no,
what I mean?
You don't realize.
Like, am I self-absorbed myself?
That.
Like, I never really thought on that level. And
but then when you do put it in perspective, you're like, wow.
Yeah. Powerful, dude.
That's
really
super powerful.
Man.
So like, don't give up on your dreams, man, because someone's depending on you.
Someone depends on that.
He just gave an example of like a teacher. Yeah. He's like, you get to face these kids every day. You not pursuing or being that teacher or a great teacher, you're affecting the lives that you could potentially change right in front of you.
I felt like that gave me a whole new perspective in work, and I take work seriously. I love what I do, but that gave me a whole different perspective, and I think helped elevate my game a little bit after.
And that's the beauty of doing this, right?
Yeah,
because
I know.
we learn too.
We're learning so much.
Right?
From everybody that's been on here, I think we've been able to take something like personally.
Yes, yes, and I'm sure we'll have
grow.
Sean on again.
Definitely,
he's such a great speaker.
We'll
be in touch, Sean. All right, we'll be in touch. The next one, who we got? Matt?
Julie.
Yeah, right. Julie. She's from, where's she up at?
She's in Maryland now.
Maryland.
She's but that was an awesome one for me. So Julie had interned for me before, and like seeing her flourish now is like I'm so proud of her. I can't even. She's just killing it. She's killing it, and she inspired me to do gratitude every day, which I still do. I still do. I sometimes I miss a Sunday if I, but it's amazing because she talks about neuroplasticity and, how you can change thinking. And we're hardwired to almost think negatively or like protect ourselves. Sure. So like we're more prone to fear and stuff. And she talks about how you can shift that and how she went through a tough time with, with sickness and family sickness and like how she was able to like grow her mindset with that and really grow in gratitude. And so I still feel the benefits of that. And
hands down.
So I still try to do that. And I look for gratitude every day because I know I got to put it on this list, but it helps me, really changes how I look at life now.
Yeah, it does. It puts life into perspective when you have that gratitude. When you share that, I think your energy changes. I think, the vibe with the universe changes when you are in that being grateful. And she does a great job. She uses it as a vehicle, right?
Yeah.
And we discussed it, when she loved our motto, get your mind right.
Yeah.
But that's essentially what she was doing. Like she was using gratitude in order to like change her mindset. And she's continuing to do it. And obviously she's flourishing, all of her endeavors that she's doing. She got a podcast, she's training, she got the PT thing going. Like, so there's a lot of positive things going for her. And she was a great guest.
Yeah. That was awesome. And, helping raise our frequency a little bit. Sure.
Absolutely. Thank you, Julie. All right. Next one is Swerve, my 570 guy, man. Irvin Blackwell. What you think about Irvin?
I think the biggest thing is like pivot. Don't be afraid. Staying open-minded because I think a key take-home from that is he wasn't about high school sports when he first started. Nope. He wasn't like the 570 Sports Show was like he wanted to do professional sports.
Yes.
And then like he had to pivot a little bit. And now he's hit his groove, obviously. Yeah. And, 20K followers. He's, for Northeast PA, he's the, biggest Instagram account and for sports. So I think, and that was like by accident.
Yeah, it was.
And, if he like relentlessly pursued this, and had tunnel vision towards, I want to do pro sports, it probably wouldn't have worked out like this, but it's a great outlet, man.
It is.
570 Sports is pretty cool. And, it continues to grow.
Yeah. And I think this is a good example of like, hey, sometimes you want things that you think are best for you.
Yeah.
Right? Or you chase things that you think are best for you, but that may not be true. Right? But in order to chase it, and that pivot was there. So he was like, hey, man, we're going to do these pro sports, and this is what I want to do, pro sports. But like you said, he was open-minded enough to say, you know what? What if we give some love to the local high school?
Yeah.
And then, like, look what it turned into, right? It turned into this mega thing. And I'm sure from the beginning, if you went to him and said, hey, why don't you start something with high school sports? He's like, it'd probably be a no.
Yeah.
Right?
I'm going to try this first.
Probably be a no. So it's like, explore your options.
Yeah.
Right? Like, sometimes we go after things that just aren't for us. So it's like, you got to learn to pivot and have that open mind and know how to change the game. Different directions, right? So that was shout out, man. And keep killing it, Swerve. I mean, you know what the deal is. Updates, details, news. Like, you're looking for local high school sports, you go to 570 Sports, right? The IG. So,
he's growing.
And he's growing.
Yeah,
he's continuing to grow. So
besides Scranton.
He is. He's stretching it out, and that's good. Good to see it. And we hope you guys at 570 stay successful out there. All right. Next guy. Jamie Calloway, right? Manny, our semi-pro guy with the Wyoming Valley Clutch, man. We've been working with him for years, in the gym. Yeah. So we get a lot of experience with him. But you know what? I'll be honest with you. He was look at his views. Like he might be
he's
second
there,
or
right?
third or something like that. So
I was impressed by that. Yeah,
I was too. And shout out to him because I challenged him to do that, right? Yeah. But overall, Manny's a story that is, again, it's almost like a Dom DeLuca thing, right? Yeah. Where he has a dream, he's chasing it, and, with Mia tied in there, he doesn't accept no, right? Yeah. Because doors have been shut on him you know, going overseas, international, coming back home, going on to a different – he's all over with tryouts and combines. And, you know, that door just didn't open up for him. But regardless, he continues to come into the gym.
Yeah.
He continues to work on his craft. He continues to keep going. And you know what? I think this year, like, he flourished. He kind of fell into a great role with the clutch.
Oh, definitely.
Obviously, they won their regional champs. They ended up going to the Elite Eight. They made it to the Final Four. And he was a big part of that.
Yeah.
He's their top scorer. And I think it took for him to evolve and continue to put his work in for that team to even get there. So, you know, I think it did pay off with that. And I think his road's not over.
No.
You know, obviously he's going to continue to chase that dream. And, you know, we're going to help him, you know, as much as we can on our end. But he's another. He refuses to accept no.
Yeah.
You know?
Again, I relate a lot to Mia and Tom and, you know, in his story and, you know, work ethic.
Yeah.
You know, that's a huge take home for me is like he just continues to work and work and work and work. And he's getting a lot smarter. He's growing, his IQ's getting better. And I think like just his relentlessness is why he had such a successful year.
Yes.
Because he's still like trying new things. He's still like trying to grow, and you know, a lot of credit to him. Like growth mindset and really just continues to dig deep.
Yeah,
you know,
and he plays a lot of basketball.
A lot.
And still to this day, he's always like, what can I do better?
Right.
You know, tell me, how am I moving? Is my
Film,
movement right?
Everything,
Yes, So
everything.
He does check the boxes on that,
Absolutely.
you know? So you hope that, you know, he lands some type of opportunity that's going to, you know, make him happy or he finds an avenue or maybe there's a pivot.
Right.
You know, you never know. There's a pivot there somewhere. But, again, hardest worker in the room by far. I don't know a person that works harder than Manny, you know? Shout. Who we got next, dude?
Paul Guido.
Okay. Coach Paulie G.
Paulie G.
Right, Paulie G. So he's a four-time district champion, back-to-back, right? Took the Holy Redeemer, Royals, killed it. You know, has a lot of talent on that court. But he's a funny guy, man.
Oh, he's
I never had the opportunity to really meet and sit down with him, so that was my first time meeting him, and I had a different perspective of him, of what I thought he was or who he was, and he's a funny dude, man. Laid back, like he's comical, and I could see why he's successful. Yeah, you know,
I think he's so like relatable to the kids. I know he played such a huge part in my life. You know, when I played high school sports. He was my freshman coach, and then, you know, he was an assistant coach. But he just like he knows how to build relationships with his players.
Yeah,
and you know he still works hard in practice, like he said, like he's dripping sweat.
Right,
you know?
right, yep.
And, you know, I think back to the days when he was with us, and that's Paul. And like I told you, I said, like, that's exactly how I thought that interview was going to go. Like, Paul, he just, you know, and another thing with Tim is how important it is to just be yourself.
Yes.
You know,
I agree.
Be yourself. And his philosophy on pressure, because people, you know, he was talking about, there's supposed to, I don't feel any pressure. I don't, you know, that's, pressure's from somebody else. I don't put any pressure on myself, and we're gonna go out, we're gonna work hard and let the chips fall as they may.
That's it.
And I was like, all right, I like that, Paul.
I mean, like, he's laid back in a sense, like you said. He definitely has that personality to like connect with the kids and be relatable. And obviously, he has a good system and process of what he's doing because the success continues. But like you said, dude, like the pressure, there's no pressure. Like, hey, this is what I want to accomplish, and this is what we're going to do, and we're going to have a little fun sometimes.
A lot of fun.
Yep, you know, and we're going to dial it in, but, like, it's working.
Yeah.
It's working. So we'll see in the future. I mean, obviously he's going to continue to, you know, as we know it, coach down at Holy Redeemer, and I'm sure there's talent coming through, and he's building up his bench, and he has it rocking. So
he'll continue to succeed.
I
know he will. Yeah,
100%.
I know he will.
So shout out to Coach Paulie G, man. Thanks for coming on the show. Next guest, who we have?
Dennis Bonvie.
Yes,
Dennis Bonvie.
The enforcer.
That was a big one. That was a fun one. Sitting down talking to him. I think one of the first things he said, I think, was super important, and that was like, you know, we forget about this sometimes. We do, but we don't. Is he said, be a good person.
Yeah,
he said,
man.
You know, and that was like he was pretty adamant on that. He said, just be a good person.
Right.
And That hit me. Like that's pretty cool. We're constantly searching how to better ourselves and how to grow, and and I think that's a simple thing, and I think that's such an important thing. Is be a good person.
Yeah. And that was shocking, especially coming from a guy with that like reputation and what we knew him for. The
fighter,
the brutal enforcer on the ice, right? Mm-hmm. And to say is like, man, I'm just trying to be a good person. You're like, what?
Like, hold on.
Yeah, but the other thing that I took is like his story, like talking about his story, perseverance, like another one of where. He wasn't the most skilled.
No.
Right? He wasn't the best athlete.
His dad told him to quit.
His pops told him, like, dude, what are you doing? Like, do something else.
Yeah.
And he was like, no, Dad. Like, I'm not. I'm going to make it. And, like, again, got rejected a couple times, got cut a couple times, and still he said, it doesn't matter. I'm going to make it here.
Still.
Like I'm going to make it. And look at it. Like, he just had a crazy career. Like, he's known. What's the most penalties?
The most penalty minutes
in professional hockey, still holding that, and I'm sure no one's going to come close to that, right?
Going to touch that, yeah.
So he's still part of the sport.
Yeah.
He's up pro scout for the
Bruins,
which are having an amazing season.
Absolutely.
So I mean, like the thing for this guy is again perseverance. Again, he didn't give up. He chased his dream.
Yeah.
He obtained his dream. And now it's like, dude, just be a good person and let's pass it on to the next generation, right? Yeah. Like that's his wisdom. So we appreciate
great stuff,
guest, man.
That was another fun one.
Yes,
they're all fun, man.
They are.
In their own way. It's
sure. All right, next guy, Matt Buffano. So typically we're interviewing athletes and big time coaches, and this was an opportunity where we kind of peeled back a layer on the other side of it, of the people that kind of go and watch these sports or, write about these sports and cover these coaches and players. So it was an interesting perspective to bring this guy on, right, Matt?
Yeah. Oh, definitely. And he's one of the nicest guys I've ever met.
Yeah.
He is such a nice guy, but he plays such an important role in sports.
100%.
And huge Twitter following and does a great job on his Twitter, keeping people posted and updated. And he's a great writer. And then he flipped the script on us.
Yeah, he did.
And I think that was pretty cool. And and for us, like we always talk about your why.
Yep.
And that's what he asked about.
Yeah.
Your why, like why do you do this? And it was kind of cool because we're still on the same page.
Sure.
And we're still on the same mission. So I liked that he did that. I also liked his curiosity.
Yes.
And something that was a big take home for me, and what I learned is, his curiosity was such a big driver for him.
Yep.
And he's good at it.
He's like a history buff, right?
Oh,
like he's really into storytelling. That was what we learned, like storytelling, and I get it now. So it's not just simply as, covering a coach or a sport, situation and just writing about it, but more or less he's like invested in. He wants to tell stories, right, and that was the one thing that I saw, and he was passionate about it.
Oh my gosh,
you could tell that like he loves the opportunity to tell a story, right, and to write a story. So it was cool to see that, and to understand that it doesn't just exist within the sports or the activity itself or the coaching, and you got guys like a sports writer that has that same passion.
Right.
And you can utilize these same characteristics and components of success to be successful
in all different avenues.
Yes,
yeah,
absolutely. So that was an eye-opener there, and I think the listeners could appreciate that coming from that perspective.
Yeah, what a guy.
Yeah. Shout out, Matt. And the last guy that we had on, Matt Dixon, man. This dude's Mike Dixon. He's from Maryland, the lacrosse guy. He's bringing it to NEPA, Black Knights Lacrosse. The energy.
Oh, man. Dude, how contagious is his energy?
His energy, man. I was like, Mike, why you yelling, dude? Like I yell.
Yeah.
Right? So I was like, oh shit, man. And I told him, I was like, dude, I'll hire. We should hire you.
I know.
Like
you come up to this area for this summer, just come on in,
like,
dude.
Man,
you are hired.
You fit the mold, dude.
That's
like we need this. But that was cool, man. That was cool. His energy, his passion about the sport, and him helping the youth and changing lives and trying to set them up for success beyond the sport and in life in general is. It's where we stand. But to see it from him, it was just obvious. what was there, right? And it was really cool to talk to this guy.
You could tell he is such a great coach. He is really like his overall perspective on teaching the game and teaching about life and even building a program and the ups and downs. And like, you know, he talked about there was seniors that were negative, and he said, "You're gone. You're gonna sit. I'm gonna put these guys in."
Right.
You know, so I loved that episode. I loved talking to him. His energy was just absolutely amazing.
Yes.
Like I can't wait to talk to this guy again.
Yeah.
Like just such a positive guy, such a high energy, just
and you think like if you're a lacrosse athlete and you have opportunity to join his club, go ahead, man, because you're going to benefit tremendously, not just in the sport of lacrosse, but life, man. He's definitely one of those mentors that's people are going to talk about. You know, down the road of saying, hey, Coach Dixon, you know, had a lot of value, that added value to me in my life. So, again, energy was through the roof. Love is passion. It just gooed out. And we did a Zoom. I imagine if that was in person, we did it on Zoom.
Oh, man, we'd be on fire.
Yeah, we'd be jumping and flipping tables with that guy. But, I mean, overall, that was awesome.
I'm so glad we got connected with
it was cool. It was, man. And that was our last one. So now we got to see what the next kind of list looks like, man.
We got a couple
lining up. So
so
it's gonna be good. And I think we're just getting better at this, and we're hitting the ground, and it's fun. It's fun, man.
From Klassner to Dixon, I think we
right. We're doing our Klassner to Dixon.
Found our style a little bit better.
We did, and we're at episode 25, and what's the subscriber list at right now? We're at 119, man.
Hey,
so
okay,
let's get that. We're at 119. Let's keep rocking, man.
Yeah.
Like let's see how long it takes us to get to 200. We want everyone you listening, just go subscribe, get these numbers up for us.
Do it.
But yeah, we love doing it. We're having fun doing it, and I hope you guys are getting key takeaways and taking these nuggets and apply them to your life, because that is our purpose. Our purpose is to share education, concepts, strategies, anything that can improve your life. That's it, man.
Well said.
Any last words, brother?
No, that's it. You pretty much summed it up. And not only gaining nuggets from us, but the guests that we have on.
Yes. So put your seatbelts on. Stay tuned. We're going to be rocking and rolling some more. You guys know the deal. It's 2 Down, 1 Over. I'm Josh. This is Matt. Make sure you subscribe, and we'll catch you on the next episode.
See ya.
Peace.